Hey guys, there's a lot of resolution and New Year's posts I'm seeing on Facebook, and I just wanted to share where I'm at. I've put a lot of stuff on Facebook recently, and I just wanted to share where I'm at after. At 12 o'clock it'll be 3 weeks since the breakup, and I just wanted to share where I'm at. I've seen God do amazing things in these last 3 weeks. Two of the biggest realizations in my life is, number one, God's forgiveness is something that we get to live with every day, and something that He has given us that I feel like we take for granted so many times as Christians. And for my own personal walk, I've come to realize that God's forgiveness is ultimate, and that it ultimately allows us to move forward with our life, and allows us to really begin to focus on what we need to do and what we need to fix and how we should go about fixing it. In Matthew, there are two points I want to make, but the first point I want to make is the realization of just grace and love. And in actually not Matthew, but in Luke chapter 15, Jesus gives a number of parables that discuss the parable of being lost, of having something lost. And you're pretty familiar, and there's a very big familiarity with this story about the parable of the lost son, or the prodigal son. And Jesus continued, "There was a man who had 2 sons. The younger one said to his father, 'Father, give me the share of the estate.' So he divided his property between them. Not long after that, the younger son got together all he had, set off for a distant country, and there squandered his wealth in wild living. After he had spent everything, there was a severe famine in the whole country, and he began to be in need. So he went and hired himself out to a citizen of the country, who sent him into the fields to feed pigs. He longed to fill his stomach with the pods that the pigs were eating, but no one gave him anything. When he came to his senses, he said, 'How many of my father's hired men have food to spare, and here I am, starving to death. I will set out and go back to my father and say to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Make me like one of your hired men.' So he got up and went to his father. But while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion for him. He ran to his son, threw his arms around him, and kissed him. Then the son said to him, 'Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son.' But the father said to his servants, 'Quick, bring the best robe, put it on him, put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. Bring the fattened calf and kill it. Let's have a feast and celebrate, for this son of mine was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found.'" It's a beautiful visual to imagine that a God who sits there and sees our sin in our life and lets us go off and live our life. For 8 years, guys, I really lived in my sexual sin. I'll be honest. I lived the way I wanted to. God allowed that. But then, just 3 weeks ago, I think God began to make me recognize where I was at and that I needed Him. And that's where I am coming up into this New Year. Is one very big realization is that God doesn't wait for us to get back on the right track and get back all the way up, as it were, to the porch, and then He isn't going to tell us, I told you so. When we turn around in our life of struggle and sin, He sees us from a distance and He runs to us. He jumps off that porch. Just imagine that. He jumps off the porch and He runs to you. That's been a big, huge realization in my life, is that God runs after people who turn around and say, I need your help. The other realization Jesus also discusses in more than one book in the Gospels, discusses how we should pick up our crosses daily. He says, if anyone wants to be great among you, you must pick up your cross daily and follow me. And there's two realities there. The first is that God doesn't give us a destination. He doesn't say, pick up your cross daily, and then I'm going to address this issue in your life, and I'm going to take care of this relationship, and I'll heal this, and I'll bless this. No destination. The other is that Jesus doesn't give us a time frame. God doesn't give us a time frame. He doesn't say, well, if you pick up your cross daily and follow me for 5 minutes, I'll take you here, or I'll bless this. All he says is, whoever wants to be great among you must take up your cross daily and follow me. For me, guys, this new year is coming into it, just allowing God forgiveness to wash over me every single time I've struggled, and wash over me when I struggle even in this new year, and when I fail to recognize God needs to be in control. And number two, it's just a requirement of me to go into this year saying, God, I'm following you. I've tried to lead the way for the longest time, and I haven't found happiness in it. So guys, thank you for your support, your love, your prayers. I felt it. I felt God moving in a big way. Please be in prayer for me as the new year starts and so many things begin to happen in my life. I've been so blessed these last 3 weeks to just step away from the campus and allow God to move in ways that I am amazed. I am amazed by what he has done, what he will continue to do if I allow him to. So please be in prayer for that, and I again want to fervently thank you and let you know that if you need anything, if you need prayer, if you need just a witness, if you need me to share with you what I've done, if you're struggling, I've been there. But I can look you in the eye and through this camera and tell you that where I was and where I'm going to go are two different places completely. It's 3 weeks ago, and I just reflect on it and I think about how amazing God is and where he is putting me and where he's going to take me. So thanks guys for your support. I pray that you guys have a blessed New Year's Eve and just a blessed New Year in whatever his purpose is in your life. And I pray that you recognize that I am available to you if you need me to be in prayer, through thought, through a text, through a phone call, whatever it is. So thanks guys. Have a good New Year.